Hello, I'm George Cairns, and I'll be guiding you through Teach Yourself Photoshop, a complete course to help you master the art of image editing. And in lesson 7 of your course, we're going to look at the various ways Photoshop's tools and commands can convert your images to striking black and white shots. You'll learn how to bring out the shapes and textures in a print and change contrast and tone to make things stand out even more. We'll also look at ways to mimic traditional black and white film effects, like adding film grain and creating an infrared film look, for example. But let's kick off by putting Element's handy black and white command through its paces. So kick off by dragging part 01 before .dng into Photoshop's window, and that will open up a digital negative file in the Camera Raw editor like so. Then all we need to do is click Open Image to open that shot into Photoshop's standard editor, so we can then apply the convert to black and white command. Let me just click here and choose this option, which is to consolidate all, and that just pops it into a nice grey background like so. And because I hit the tab key earlier on, all my floating windows and menus are hiding, so I'm going to hit tab again to make those visible. Now we could just turn this into a black and white print by going to Enhance, Adjust Colour, and then choose Remove Colour. That's the most simple option of all, but you get a very bland grayscale version of the shot. You see the teeth aren't very white, she's not standing out from the background, there's no real strong blacks and no real strong whites, so we don't have a high contrast, and a decent black and white print will have a nice range of strong shadows all the way through to strong highlights. But this is all bland, it's all grey, and it's a bit rubbish. So let's go to Edit, Undo Remove Colour, and we're going to look at the much more effective Convert to Black and White command, which is hiding up in here. If you pop down to Convert to Black and White, up pops a new window like so. Now every photograph is made up of a mixture of reds, greens and blues, and depending on the strength of these channels, these color channels, you get a different black and white image. And the cool thing is we could just drag these and adjust them manually to create a different look, but it's much easier to select a style. So if we click on infrared, you get a very high contrast looking shot with the skin tones looking very white, and we have some nice dark shadows in the background there too. Or we can go to newspaper and get an even more striking change in contrast. You can see that the grass there is looking different in the infrared effect compared to newspaper. So these styles help different parts of the image stand out, and they're very powerful. Portrait's a little bit more grey, a little bit more neutral, a little bit more kind of bland. Scenic landscape is slightly different there. You're lightening the skin tones and making her stand out nicely from the background. And as I click on these, you can see that the channel mix is changing quite significantly. And if I move over here, you can see we've got a red of 60, a green of 28, and a blue of 12. Let's pop down to urban and have a look, and that makes the eyes stand out more. You can see between scenic, look at her eyes. Click on urban, and there's a little bit more contrast there, and you can see more detail in the eyes. And vivid landscapes makes the skin look very pale indeed. So depending on the colours in your source file, you'll get a variety of different effects using styles. Let's just pop back to portrait for the moment, and that's a little bit bland and grayscale, but we can increase the contrast by dragging this slider to the right to make the difference between the blacks and the whites much more dramatic. So I'm just going to keep dragging that until I get a nice high contrast looking shot. So the background's getting a little bit darker now, with the black shadows looking darker and the skin tones are getting a little lighter. And I could try lightening up the reds a little bit more, because there's a lot of red in the skin, and that just makes her skin stand out a little bit more, but I'm not going too far, otherwise we end up clipping or blowing out the brightest highlights. So there we have a nice high contrast black and white shot where the girl is standing out from the background, and her features are also standing out very clearly too. So we can see a nice white teeth there now and striking eyes. So when you're happy, click OK to apply the change, and there's our high contrast black and white shot using the convert to black and white command. So here we have a monotone image. It's a mixture of blacks, greys and whites, and in the next movie I'm going to show you how to take control of monotones using the much more flexible hue saturation adjustment layer.